Good evening. Welcome back to the Terri Strange channel. So let's see. Getting myself set up here. Maybe my fruit of the spirit. I used to have it like set up. I don't know. I don't even know how I was sitting. But anyway, look at that beautiful light coming in. It's still light out. I'm doing this kind of late, but I did want to come over here and draw this evening. So busy time after work. Didn't get everything done that I wanted to, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So yeah, gonna be hanging out for a bit, working on my drawing, chatting with whoever shows up, and just having a overall nice, pleasant evening. Topics are open, so you can bring up anything you like, and we can discuss. And yeah, if anyone wants to join too, I think I'll post the link because I have, artistic friends. So we'll do that. We'll post the link in the chat and pin it. So if anyone wants to join, there, let me link to join. You will be able to. Maybe I'll put this light on here because I thought it would I thought it would have gotten, I don't know, lighter by now or darker by now, but it's not. We're not there yet. It's the lighter half of the year. So I enjoy it. I like having the extra light. It's much better than being in the very dark part of the year, at least in terms of my mood. But hello, Tar Baby Yoda. How you doing? How was your day? Did you get any good trolling in? I was going to pin that. I thought I sent it already. You got to texting before I started. Oh no. Before I got my stuff together. Yeah, I went out today. It was kind of, I don't know. I like to run my errands early in the morning, but I just haven't been myself. And I don't know what that means exactly myself, but I haven't been feeling well the past couple months. Just haven't had the gumption in the mornings to really get myself together as much as I would like. Some mornings I'll have it more than others, but it used to be consistent that I could get up and get going and run errands before I started work, but that's been really difficult recently. So anyway, I had to run some errands after work today, and it was just chaotic, and I think that's part of why I prefer doing it in the early morning because, it's not chaotic. Usually there's nobody out, and even if there are riffraff out, because there are usually in the early morning, they're also kind of tame. They get a lot crazier, as the evening goes on or the day goes on. Are you finishing your dinner? Oh, good boy. Early bird gets the worm. Well, you did get someone in the JLP chat. I saw you get him with the D's nuts. So I don't remember who it was, but it was good. I do too. Morning is the best time. But yeah, it's just been difficult for me, to get up when I need to and just get myself together. Well, I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, breakfast is the best meal, I think. Breakfast trumps the others. And you know what else? Yeah, today I ordered some food. I ordered I ordered like breakfast. I ordered like coffee and like pastry from a coffee shop. And the guy who delivered it was on an electric bike, which respect, that's pretty great. But like, didn't really impact things too much. I mean, some of the latte spilled, but my latte was not made correctly. And I like paid extra for flavor and stuff. Like I never do that. I'm like very much just like plain latte or like coffee with cream. Every now and then, though, I'll get like a treat. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to get a hazelnut breve latte, with some extra shots in it. And it just, I don't even think they put the extra shots in it. It was like weak and it was like, no hazelnut. How do you forget my hazelnut? I paid extra. And then I like, they upcharge when you use the apps anyway. And then I got it delivered, and then I had to tip the guy, and it was just like, no hazelnut. It was all right though, but yeah, it was kind of like not what I wanted. Anyway, first world problems. And impressive, the guy delivering early in the morning on an electric bike. I mean, be hustling, respect. So it was that Adrian person. Yeah, I got a lot of work done today too, like massive amounts of stuff shifted, but definitely a lot of craziness still and more to do. And tomorrow's supposed to be like a early release half day, but I don't know that I'm going to get a half day. Like just looking at my workload, I don't see how that's possible. Oh well. At least I won't have to work Monday. But then I have to come back. I don't know. I need to give myself a vacation. I need to like really take some time off because I'm in a rut. Hi, Bumblebot. Hola, Bumblebot. You did too. Wait, what did you do too? What were you responding to? Oh no, I don't remember. Okay, yeah, boring stuff. Me talking about my job, my errands, my little DoorDash order. And I thought the place was like close too. I didn't realize it was across the river. Like I don't usually order anything across the river just because I don't want to make anybody come that far. I prefer to, order in my neighborhood basically, or like in at least on the same quadrant that I'm in. So that was kind of weird. I like looked when I went and saw like where he was coming from. I'm like, oh, he has to cross the river. And there's been all these like articles recently saying that they're doing filming on some of the bridges, so it's going to be delaying traffic because I guess they're filming a movie here again. Which is it's nice to hear that there's some film happening because that used to be like more common, and I don't know if we've really had any filming in Portland for a while. Where is the bus? Or did you mean Bud? Where is the Bud? You heard Terry has the best laugh. You've heard my laugh, Nisio. Stop. Hello, Mina. Yes, where is the Bud? I think Tar Baby Yoda has the Bud, because I definitely don't. I ain't got no Bud. I don't smoke. I gave it up last spring. I think I've maybe had it twice since then, smoked anything, and that was just because of, I was out with friends and they happen to have it, you know. Don't dox where you are in ECO unless you want to. But yeah, anyway, I felt bad. I don't like to make people like, come across the river and then when we find out they're like in an electric or on an electric bike, it's just like, oh man. But I guess the thing with the electric bike is they don't have to pedal. And he found the place easily. Like most of the time, I don't know what it is, but it seems like the app directs people off across the street for some reason. So often I always go out to like meet them. But yeah, he came right up to the place. He didn't have any issue. So that went well, at least. Me and my little adventures. I'm front freaking LA or from freaking LA, docs 15 from Bond. 15. So you're from LA. That's a pretty big area. One of them big cities, biggest in the country, technically, land size wise. It was interesting because growing up in Anchorage, um, I learned that that's the second largest city in the country, like in terms of land mass. I learned a black guy with watermelon to my porch. Tar Baby Yoda, you making racial stuff going on? I don't even think, did I even see any black people today? Other than like on the internet? I don't know. In person. Oh wait, no, I did. I saw. They were kind of freaking out actually. Somebody, as I was coming back from the grocery store with my cat food in tow, they were crossing the street. So like entrance to my building is on the corner, and then they were crossing the street, but they weren't doing it very well, and they kept stopping and like doing this weird arm motion. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I got to get inside quickly. But I was saved because two of my neighbors who I actually recognized came up to the door as I was trying to get my key out. And they were like, oh, do you want me to get the door for you? And I was like, yeah. And then they held it open for me. And then when they got into the elevator, I got in with them, and then they pressed the buttons for me and everything. I didn't have to do any of it. It was nice. There's some fire out there. Where's some fire? In LA? Nicio, what is this? Why are you saying that? What is with the prejudice against cats? He's my sweet baby. He was so sweet this morning. We was cuddling so good. We were cuddling so good last night. I woke up a couple times. He was right next to me, just purring and being warm and cuddly. Button pressing is the full royal treatment. I know. I like that. Cat steals souls. He definitely stole mine. He got my whole heart. I don't know, though. I did yell at him when I was going to use the restroom today. Like, he got up and like he followed me, and then he like as I was going in there, he just like starts talking smack, being like meow, and I was like, dude, I was like no, very loudly, and then he kind of just like he let out like another little meow, and then he like walked off, and I was like, that's right. So we do have our moments. I'm not the most patient person sometimes with him. It's just, I had so much to do, you know. I concur with that, but I do have some neighbors that aren't very I don't know, some people just don't have any manners or like respect or decency. It's really amazing to me as well because I am like encumbered being in a wheelchair. So I'm kind of like, who raised you? What's wrong with you? Like, I can't imagine. But whatever, whatever. Everyone loves their hell. My dog sleeps next to me. See, here you go. I wouldn't say my cat is my hell though. He's like, I don't know. I don't agree with that. He's, a faithful and true companion. He's taught me a lot about myself through the years. He's, just been such a blessing in my life. I don't think he's hell at all, you know. In my estimation, in my feeling about him, like I'm really grateful that he's in my life, that he's my kitty, that I get to take care of him. Mm. Tongues are amazing. They are amazing, but they're a lot harder to, take care of. I can't take care of a dog. I really wanted to get one. Like I had this vision, like I was going to move into this apartment, get a dog and like just, you know, but it's not going to work. Like it's too much work. A dog is way too much work. So kudos to the people who have them. But I just can't take care of one. It's too much work physically. Being courteous is proper. Yeah, I concur. But not everybody is courteous. Let's get strange. Oh, heck. I have the bag over there. I'm in my device, though. I could probably wheel over and grab it quickly, but I don't want to. When I went to the shop today, I got my little Emily Strange tote bag. So I was feeling strange. I was representing the strange. I was being the strange I wanted to see in the world. It's really cool. It's this cute little tote bag my cousin sent me for, I think, Christmas this past year. So I hadn't actually used it. She also sent me some like socks, which were Emily Strange themed as well, which is like cool. I like Emily Strange, but it's not really something I would wear. Tomas will take care of for you. Well, yeah, I mean, if I marry, regardless, and they want a dog, yeah, then they'll be the one mostly taking care of the dog. I'll probably be able to feed it and stuff, but like handling its other business now. Um, Shouldn't I go back to Portland? What do you mean? Why should I go back to Portland? In what sense should I go back to Portland? In what sense have I left Portland? This is deep. I don't know what to think about this. What do you mean? Go back to Portland. No, he didn't. I mean, maybe in my random imagination of things I could have come up with, like, no, that was a joke. He did call into, I don't remember which show he called into. I think it was either like Hake or it could have been JLP. Excuse me, but I don't think it was JLP. But he said he was he wouldn't be around for a while. So I don't know. I mean, I could he's got he's not without, you could probably contact him. You could go to his page and leave a comment if you miss him. I'm sure he would respond. He has a Instagram too. You could probably DM him if you are missing him. Sorry. My apologize. My apologies, not my apologize. The Portland pansexuals versus the San Francisco sodomites. Yoda, listen. Portland has the Trailblazers, okay? Go Blazers. Rip City, okay? Don't mess with Rip City. We're very proud of our Blazers. Excuse me. You know what else I got? I got I got some of the Lindor chocolate truffles, a bag of them. They were on sale, and I had one when I got inside, but my throat has been bothering me since. I had it and I was eating it, and then I was my throat started burning a little bit, and I was weird. I didn't expect that. Hasn't happened before, so I'm wondering if I'm sensitive to something in it. But yeah, I'm feeling kind of weird. I know, but maybe she's asleep. I think she's on the East Coast. But no, I was just wondering, weird Portland and Terri keeps politics in sync. What do you mean? What does that mean? A lacrosse team called the Blazers. Yeah, well, we're the Trailblazers because, Portland is timber country. We also have the Timbers as a soccer team. So there's all this, I don't know, celebration of the, the timber industry. And Portland used to be all wooded as well, so a lot of the culture derives from, the forest kind of motif and that kind of thing. So thinking of, Stumptown is another thing. Stumptown is a coffee company that started in Portland, and that was one of its first names, and it was called that just because of all the cleared trees. But I was looking up stuff about it, and I guess the city was incorporated 1851. So interesting. I don't remember how old my church is specifically. I think it's like 160 some years old. I'm weird. Embrace it. My last name is Strange. Did you not see the Terri Strange? How much more do I need to embrace it? I don't know what you mean though. Weird Portland and Terry keep politics in sync. I never liked NSYNC. I didn't like boy bands when I was, a teenager, a millennial teenager. We were all supposed to, like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, and you would have like your favorite, but I didn't really go for any of that. And I didn't like any of the like mainstream pop music at the time because I was all edgy and different, and I was like, this is just corporate trash, you know. But it's endured for some reason. So like the young people are listening to NSYNC and knowing the words and stuff, and I'm just like, all right. I guess I was wrong. I guess it had lasting power, but it is a little weird when you're like hanging out with a Gen Zer and they like are into NSYNC, and you're just like, man. Or a lot of them are into new metal. Like a lot of them are into like, I don't know, like Korn and Slipknot and like Limp Bizkit. And I'm just like, why hasn't this stuff just gone away? Why has it endured? Mm, okay, I like that. I like that message. Keep Portland weird and keep Terry strange. Indeed, that would make a good logo. Maybe we'll work something on that. Hmm. Okay, let's see. I think they expect Cherry to have blue hair and a hammer and sickle tattoo. I did have blue hair at one point. I've had most colors of hair. Um, are there any colors I haven't had? Probably like orange, yellow. I've had purple, I've had green, I've had blue, I've had red and pink. And I've been blonde and I've been. But I gave up dyeing my hair a long time ago. It's not good for your hair. It's really not. It's not good for you and it's not good for your hair. I can't believe how much I used to dye my hair, honestly. And anyways, I don't have a hammer and sickle tattoo. Maybe it would be cool. I think I wanted to get one at one point, but thank God I never did. I mean, imagine explaining that to people. Imagine going to visit the relatives and you've got like a hammer and sickle. My tattoos that I have are like. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine it. I knew somebody who had one like on their chest. I don't know. I just feel it's an interesting symbol. I like the imagery of it, like how it came together and the symbology of it, but I just don't want something like that tattooed on my body. I don't want to be working with the hammer or the sickle my whole life. Do I like Andy Warhol? Um, I mean, yeah, he's such an icon. I like some of his work, some of just his lore, his history. Um, he's not like a favorite artist of mine, but I wouldn't say I don't like him. I do like some of his art and some of his film and just intrigue as an artist. Yeah, definitely interesting. Thank you for agreeing with me, Chris. I concur. Yeah. You prefer my glamour day. Thank you. I do too. What was I thinking? I could have been pretty this whole time. I mean, I had periods of being pretty. It's not like I wasn't pretty either. Should probably disclaimer that, even at my ugliness, ugliest, I wasn't terrible looking. And there were times, I mean, like, I don't know. I like the brightly colored hair. I'm not somebody who like sees somebody with, brightly colored hair, and has some sort of weird judgment because I just got into it when I was a punk teen. Me and my friends would do it together, just whatever colors we had, or we'd like swap, what we had, or do each other's hair. It was just kind of like a way of bonding as like young alternative kids. But when I was into it, it was like more uncommon, I guess. It was like not everybody was doing it. It wasn't something that normies got into. Seems like more normies are into it. Let's see. Oh, chat moving fast tonight. Get a tramp stamp of marks above your butt crack. I'm going to not take that advice. I don't think that's a good idea. Stock and poke. I do have a stick and poke tattoo. I would say it's hand poked because it's not like but it was done by an artist using a I don't know what the kind of needle are. I mean, you can buy them and done by hand, it was a nice experience, to be honest, because like it took longer to do the tattoo, but it healed a lot quicker. There was like less physical trauma to the skin actually from doing it that way. With the like tattoo gun, it's such a severe kind of like impact to the skin that you do have like a massive amount of swelling that can come up, and then like just inflammation in the area. And with the stick and poke or the hand poke tattoo, it really didn't, my skin didn't react the same way, and it healed up like within a week. The scabbing was minimal, all of that. Yeah, okay. Terri seems nice and I like her, but there's still commie brain there. I don't know what that means. I don't know who Burkinski is. Maybe I should. Maybe I do know, but it's not coming to mind. Danny P is in the house. He says, hey, Terri, sup? Hope you're well. Thank you. I'm doing all right. Congratulations. You played yourself. Thank you. I try to be modest and, humble as well. Yeah, that was high school. I didn't enjoy myself at all. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I didn't really enjoy it. I wouldn't say I was like, I don't know. I felt like I just was, waiting for it to end. I didn't really get a lot out of my education, I felt, and I felt bored most of the time. And like socially, I knew a lot of people. I had a lot of like friends and like acquaintances, but I don't want to say I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of acquaintances, and I had like a tight knit group of friends. But and then I had friends at other schools as well, and I had fun, in terms of not being in school, like going to concerts, local concerts. The Anchorage punk scene was pretty vibrant when I was a teenager, so I enjoyed kind of embracing that culture, um, being creative. Like I had a lot of cool friends that I did cool things with, like, different, me and my friends, like, were into like knitting and doing art and like, we're all really into music and like discovering music. So that was fun. We all kind of had our own niches. And then, um, there was a bit of a zine culture too that got into. And then we were on the internet. So Live Journal and like MySpace were big. That was fun. I was really into like photography as a teenager. So did that. Um, what else? Yeah. It was an interesting time for me. Like I made some good friends that people I'm still connected with to this day. And I definitely like had a lot of freedom and was able to be creative, but in terms of like my education, I didn't really enjoy high school. In terms of like the just culture of high school, I didn't really enjoy it much. And I was very angsty and like rebellious. And, I was already like a leftist at the time, and I didn't really fit in with the conservative culture in a lot of ways. So, I had that kind of experience. Um, but, mixed, I would say mixed. Does that answer your question? You slept through all your classes? Dang. What kind of activities was I involved in? No, I wasn't really involved in any after school activities. I was part of our school's Gay Straight Alliance. So that was something I did. That was a club I was involved in. We were partnered with like the P flag. And then I took guitar as an elective and I took photography as an elective. So those were some things I did, but I wasn't really in any of the proper activities that I probably should have been taking advantage of, like clubs and that kind of thing. I definitely wasn't into drama. Mm, yeah, or music. I didn't really take any music. In terms of electives, like I can't even remember like all of my electives. Yeah, I think I just kept taking photography as an elective, so I would have access to the, dark room. And I was really good at rolling film, taking it out of because we had to take it out of these old cameras, and we had to put it, roll it basically completely in the dark into these canisters. And a lot of people struggled with that, but I became really good at that, and I was able to like do it for other people. So um, that was something cool. I'm trying to think, but yeah, no, I wasn't involved in any like sports or activities in high school, really. Um, I took like soccer as an elective. Yeah, no teams or anything like that. And I wasn't like I well no, I transferred out of that. And I took Latin and French in high school as well. So those were like my languages I took. Yes, that is true. We did have bear alarms, or we would just get locked down. Danda and weed in high school. Yeah, that wasn't me. My favorite punk band, like, okay, in terms of like local Alaskan bands, definitely Spit Shine. Like, I always went to their shows. I knew like their songs by heart. Spit Shine was it. I loved Spit Shine. They had this like line from one of their songs was like, "Well, I'm just pissed off and I'll get over it." That's what she said. I don't give a yeah. But okay, yes, Spitshine, definitely my favorite local band. Oh, and then I can't forget about the Moon Knights. The Moon Knights in Anchorage. They were amazing. Some of the members actually ended up moving here to Portland. Um, so I don't know. I haven't kept in touch with any of them. Like I wasn't that kind of like weird fangirl, but they were really cool. They had some unique music and they did some like really Alaskan songs. They had a song about like sourdoughs. It was like sourdoughs coming at ya. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's me gold at? I think I still have their CD, although it probably skips like a ton. Um, let's see. And they went to high school with my first boyfriend too, so he had all kinds of interesting things to say about the members. Um, but yeah, like favorite punk band of all time. I mean, one of my favorite albums is like X-Ray Specs, Germ Free Adolescence. That's like very, very big to me. Still, it's like one of my favorite albums. Um, I also am like really fond of like the Buzzcocks. Um, I think other like favorites. Uh, Let me think. Yeah, I don't want to name anything that's like. I kind of prefer like the UK like punk music than as preferred to like the American punk music. But I mean, for American punk, I'm like fond of X and like Dead Kennedys, obviously. Um, Minor Threat, I like. Maybe they're not really a favorite. They're kind of like a lesser favorite. Um, Crass too. I mean, Crass. You can't not like Crass. Back across the pond to Crass. Yeah, but I would say like favorite punk band and probably X-Ray Specs. You know, they just had a lot of heart. Are you asking me if I've never done crystal meth. I always knew that that was not a good idea. I know we were reminiscing about MySpace today. Yes, I did have a number of teachers from other countries. Okay, well, that's fair if you say that. Yeah, I mean, I did learn some, like, I learned how to plunk along on my guitar, like, a bit, and I learned how to, like, I learned a lot in photography. And I learned some in like Latin and French. Geometry, I didn't do so well. Well, I mean, I passed. So statistics class was interesting. I learned a lot in that. And I also sat next to these like really popular mean girls in that class, and they were hilarious. We basically, that class was so fun because basically the teacher, he would give us a lecture for the like first part of the class. He would make us do an assignment that was really quick, and then we could just play on the internet for the rest of the class. So they would go on hotornot.com and they would rate like everyone one. I don't remember if it was like stars or what, but they would give them the lowest ratings, and they would like point at people on the site and they would just like make fun of them. And I remember them looking at this one girl who had this like they were like, I mean, I was just shocked when I heard this. Maybe I shouldn't repeat what they said, but I'm going to repeat it. they were looking at this girl's like picture and they were like laughing and they were like, ew, she looks like she does anal. And then they voted her one. And I was just like, that is so brutal. I could not believe they said that. And they were like, oh, and then yeah, there was like my creative writing class. I befriended a juggalette in that class. She was fun. She was fun. Although like when we went and hung out like around town, she kind of attracted that sort of people. And there was this guy who was like wearing a tail way before wearing a tail was normal, you know. Um yeah, I hate firewood. God. God. Favorite punk bands, Pentax, Developer, Black Flag. No, I don't really like Black Flag. The Germs, yeah. I don't, we never had these weird political incest stuff in school. Basically, just reading, writing, maths, and sport on Fridays. That's okay, Bosco. I mean, we forgive you. Bye, Nicio. No, I was never really big on the Ramones. I don't dislike the Ramones, but I never like really got into them. I like Blondie quite a bit in terms of like, you know, the American New York scene. And I love Patti Smith too. Patti Smith is like amazing. Love her. I remember like finding this like unofficial biography of her in high school. And I did like a report in one of my English classes on that particular biography just because it's what I happened to be reading at the time. And they let us do it on whatever we wanted. So I got to learn about her like life story, at least up until that point, because that was in like the early 2000s. So yeah, I love Patti Smith. So yeah, I guess in terms of American, like Patti Smith group be another like American punk band that I'm into. I mentioned X, right? I like the Go Go's too. Shout out to the Buzzcocks. Yeah. The Buzzcocks are very underrated. And you know, they were really like pioneers of the Manchester music scene. They were doing stuff before anybody else like really got started, you know. They were really ahead of their times. And they're the ones who actually brought like the Sex Pistols up to Manchester. I've talked about the movie what's it called? Oh God, 24-hour Party People, which is a story of like Factory Records. But they talk about that gig with the Sex Pistols, and I love the Sex Pistols and Public Image Limited as well. Like, actually, no, really love them. But like that gig that they had in Manchester, it was like a small group of people, and like everybody there was somebody who became like big, you know. So like Morrissey was at that concert, like the members of Joy Division, Tony Wilson, obviously, Nick Hucknall from like Simply Red, like all of these big stars were at this concert. So it's kind of interesting to me, like, you know, who's who. So I was a disturbed brooding child. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. I mean, I'm probably still disturbed and brooding to a certain degree. I mean, I got like into the goth thing, you know, in middle school. And then like in high school, I got more into punk. But like, I mean, it kind of blends into each other. Like Susie and the Banshees they got their roots in like punk as well. And their first few albums are punk. And even I think their whole ethos is kind of like that too. Oh, you know what? I didn't mention Adam and the Ants. Adam and the Ants is probably like one of my top, like, ever. And they're out of that you know, Bromley scene as well. Terry goes, it's not that deep. I did. I did. I did. I was shocked. I was like, I couldn't believe they said that. It was like one of the meanest things I'd ever heard at that point in my life. I was like, oh my God. They were like really, I don't know, they were interesting because like they weren't people. I actually ended up having another class with one of them later on, and we got put in a work group together, and she was just very like, she was a very unhappy, brooding teen as well. Like, and it kind of gave me perspective about that. Like, because like the social hierarchy at my high school was like, I didn't really fit in with any real clique. Like, I kind of just knew people from different cliques, and I didn't really ever, get into one too deeply. I had like my like really close girlfriends, and we would usually just, walk around the school like during, the period and say hi to different people that we knew. But I never really got in with the like cliques. So there were like more popular cliques of like preps and, jocks and those kind of people. And I guess she was being more like a prep. She was kind of in that scene, but like, I had that experience with her, like in my, statistics class. And then we had like a creative writing class where we like worked together on a team. And I just kind of realized, she's not really any different than anybody else that I know. She just happened to be like more popular or like more, this like more, I don't know. I don't even know, because when I think about it now, it's like, were they even more popular, or was that just perception? The preps. Were they more popular? Maybe, I don't know, but I knew a lot of people, and I knew people like in other schools as well. Like, and it's so funny when I first came into like the first time I ever started chatting in the JLP chat, somebody from Anchorage recognized me. They were like, yo, you look like this Terri I knew in Anchorage. And I was like, what? I was like, what? He's like, yeah. So we just started catching up. Like, I mean, I think I know who he is. I'm not sure, but I think I was more well known than like I knew people too. So I kind of had a big personality, but whatever, I'm glad I left home because it just wasn't meant for me. Okay, good. I'm glad you like Public Image Limited. Yeah, I think I probably was. My other favorite YouTube star isn't one. I'm back. Whoa. You sound jealous of the blonde girls. Huh. Jealous of the blonde girls. Is it because I mentioned that this young woman was blonde? And it had some sort of like jealous undertone to me mentioning her hair color? Because I don't know. Have I ever been jealous of blondes? I mean, maybe sometimes. Only times I've ever been jealous of like, the only times I've ever been jealous of like, I guess, blonde women is like when somebody I like likes a blonde girl more than me, I guess. You know, I guess I get kind of touchy about that, but like, I'm not really jealous of them. If I wanted blonde hair, I could have it. I could make it happen. I don't know. I don't think it would look right on me. I was given dark hair for a reason. And now you're saying touched a nerve. I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious if I sounded jealous. I wasn't jealous of this particular girl that I mentioned. I don't remember her name. I wouldn't, yeah, in my memories of her, she's not somebody I would be jealous of. She was like she was like way more angsty than me and like kind of angry, very angry. It's just my perception of her. She was like very angry, had a bad attitude, like, and just seemed to be kind of miserable. But I am jealous when like, you like somebody and you see that they like, the blondes and you're just kind of like, okay, well, all right then. Guess it's not me, you know. Guess it won't be me. I mean, it's disappointing, It's like, and then, like if they do, get with you, then you always have to be wondering in the back of your mind, like, you know, am I just like, am I just a placeholder till your blonde queen comes, And then I also wonder too, like, because we were talking about like Taylor Swift yesterday, or no, whenever the last time I streamed was, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, we were talking about Taylor Swift and how she's like unambiguously white, And I feel like if I were a blonde, I just probably wouldn't get that kind of harassment. People wouldn't be accusing me of being Jewish all the time if I were a blonde. Not that Jews can't have blonde hair, but I get the feeling like people would probably, not keep picking at me and like, accusing me of being something I'm not. Terri would get frustrated if people didn't take her intellect as seriously as a blonde. Yeah, I probably wouldn't enjoy that. I mean, yeah, that is something. But if I were blonde, I'd probably have, a sense of humor about it. Like my Aunt Kathy is a blonde and she had a sense of humor about it. She knew all the blonde jokes. She always was up on it. She had tons of blonde jokes. So I'd probably like just have a sense of humor about it. And she was no dummy, or she is no dummy, my Aunt Kathy. Man, I got some beautiful aunts, I have to say, like growing up. My Aunt Kathy and my Aunt Linda were like bombshells, That's on my dad's side. And then like my mom, like my Aunt Nola is dead, rest in peace. But like my Aunt Dorinda is gorgeous, stunning woman, stunning, and she has dark hair. She's a goth too, actually, which is really interesting. She only wears black. Has been that way since she was young, has never stopped. All her clothes are black, everything. Her hair is black, but she has these like bright light blue eyes. Stunning, stunning. When you stop looking, how you find love. When you stop looking, how you find love. Are you talking about like romantic relationship, or are you talking about love? Because love is all around. You just got to be it and it'll come to you naturally, You know what I mean? Like, if you are love, then you project love, then you're going to feel love. But if you're talking about like someone special to love, I don't know. When you stop looking, how you find love. I mean, I don't know. Like when I found it, or like when it showed up in my life, I wasn't looking. I know that. But usually, like, it's come when it's like the worst time as well. When it's like, oh man, what am I going to do with this person, I don't know. I think it depends. I'd like to just, live my life, I I have love, in my life. I have suitors, you know, and, I just try to mainly just focus on what I have to do every day and trust that, things will work out and not like worry too much about it. Because what good does that do? But it is rough. It is rough sometimes. I look around and I'm like, how are all these people married and I'm not? Like, when I was always interested in like finding someone to marry and I was always serious. Like, how is that the case? Like, how is it the case that like all these people I know, but I don't think it, I don't think I'm an easy person either. So I have to like be real with myself. Like, it's not like I'm going to fit, easily into someone's life, I'm not like, I got a lot going on, and then I'm like also a lot to deal with. It's not like somebody who's, I don't know, simpler, I guess. I don't know. Less complicated, maybe. But I don't know. Anyway, let's try to catch up here. So anyway, hi Matthew, welcome to the chat. He thinks that brunettes are hotter. Thank you. Thank you. I like dark hair. I like dark features. I think they're nice. They're attractive. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't really rate though. I don't really, because I've like liked dark, like brunette. I've liked, all. It doesn't really, I don't really have a type. Now, maybe I do have a type, but it's got nothing to really do with like the hair color. The lack of intellect in blondes is hot. I don't know. Yeah, see, that's my problem. I also have that going on, like that kind of thing. That can be, big, stumbling block. Also, like, I think just I've, been extreme and most people just, aren't down for that. I'm not really extreme in real life. Like, I live a pretty normal, basic life, but I think too, when you have kind of like non-mainstream sort of views, it can be challenging. And then, you're kind of left with other people who aren't mainstream in their views as well. But then you have to you have these like really intense kind of disagreements as well. A blonde joke. Let me think if I can think up a blonde joke. Okay, so so this blonde was making breakfast for her friend she invited over, and she was saying she said she was gonna make some orange juice. So she took the little, can of frozen orange juice out and she started staring at it. She like squinted in, leaned over and kind of really started examining it. And she was doing this for a couple minutes and her friend came over and was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, the can said concentrate." But that's the first one that came to mind. It's not the funniest blonde joke. There are better ones out there. There is an internet. You can look them up. Yes, definitely. I can, yeah, and that's more my thing anyway. The femme fatale. I am, That's me. That's me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, you will get hurt. Let's see, how many suitors are wooing me? That's an interesting question. Well, let's see. I missed church this week. I had 2 men write to me about that, both of whom have taken me out a couple of times. So there's those 2. Is there anybody else right now? No, maybe I don't have a lot of suitors right now. I just have my chat simps. Shout out to my chat simps. Thank you. Take a trip, forget my problems. I'm not in a place right now to take a trip. There's too much going on, and there's a lot of upheaval here too. I'm one of my best friends is moving out of state, and another one is moving to another city. It's just so my network is kind of going down. This is funny. Oh, you hell to pay, like Jesse says. Hi, Nicio. Huh. Hell to pay. I'm not familiar with what you're referring to. I don't think I've heard Jesse say that. You're hell to pay. I suppose. I think Nicio was just saying he was leaving. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to stop evolving as a person, though, to be honest. I'm not in my final form. I think too, I mean, I got sick really young. I developed rheumatoid arthritis when I was 25, and that really kind of was so difficult to deal with, the challenge that I guess I don't really think about it anymore. I don't think about that what that was like and the impact it had on my life and what I was really physically able to do. It really impacted dating a lot. It impacted working. It impacted everything. I couldn't live like other people do. I couldn't live at the same pace. And I was struck down 25, to be going through that. So I don't think about that either. I think that has a big part to play because it definitely impacted my dating, my options as well, weren't as good, dealing with health and then so developing that disease and then putting on weight and then dealing with that didn't help either. So there was a big period of time where I just wasn't really dateable. And I went I'm kind of like that anyway, though. I go very long periods of time between relationships that I've had. It just doesn't, I may go on dates, with some, I may date someone, but I don't get seriously involved. So anyway, I think, a lot of that maybe, also impacted things. What is this? I don't even want to click on this. Is this a joke? Is this a joke that you're telling? I mean, tell the joke. Joining Pantifa didn't help either. I never joined Pantifa. I was never a part of Pantifa or Antifa. I was never an Antifa. I probably would be sympathetic to them before the 2020 kind of thing happened. I feel like Antifa grew so big and became the opposite of what I thought it was, That's nasty. Oh my goodness. My computer wilding. I don't know what's going on with it. Trying to install updates again when I asked it not to. Dang. I mean, yeah, the Antifa, I mean, they go after, like, they're just not, they're not what I thought they were when I was like much younger, although I didn't really have much experience working with them. So at all, like, I probably attended some protests where they had a presence, but like at the time that I was doing that, I mean, and that was when I was in my early 20s. That was before I ever got like sick, you know. And I did have a boyfriend at that time, actually, in my early 20s. When I was doing all that political stuff, I did have a boyfriend. And he was like very beta. He just went along with whatever like I was doing. So like he got into this stuff a little bit too, though. He got into like, well, what did he do? He like joined efforts to unionize his workplace, which I don't know if anything ever came of that. I don't think it did. And then he also like did some like solidarity camping with like Occupy after they had been kicked out. But yeah, he hermied. I don't know what that means or if this is a typo. This is Terri just realizing the protesters are paid for and organized by people that wouldn't pee on her if she was on fire. I mean, like I said, like Antifa in Portland was such a small group prior to then. Like it grew massively and it was all very suspicious, you know, what was happening. And at that time, like, so, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not just, you know, recognizing that was 4 years ago. So, but I mean, prior to that, they were very underground. Like, it's not, you wouldn't go to a protest in Portland and have anybody like claiming to be Antifa. You wouldn't. Like, they were very quiet about their, um, you know, identity and they were anonymous. So, you know, probably people that you would suspect, probably like the Black Bloc was more of that kind of crowd. I would say it's like the Black Bloc and Antifa became the same thing, but it like swelled way bigger than it ever had before. And I don't know. Like, I don't really know what their members are like or what their numbers are like now. But yeah, I assume, I don't know who these people are getting paid to protest because when I was doing it, I did not get paid. I did not get paid. Where's my check? You know, I honestly think that a lot of people are just dumb. Sometimes plants herm, he hermed. You mean he was a hermaphrodite? Maybe I need to read this out loud. Okay, Bosco has attempted a blonde joke. Let's see if it hits. A guy was at a bar and he ordered a drink. He said to the lovely blonde next to him, "Hey, want to hear a blonde joke?" She said, "Sure. But just so you know, I'm an MMA boxer weighing 160 pounds and a 5'10" and 5'10". And the blonde next to me is 176 pounds, 6 foot tall, and pro wrestler. And the blonde next to her is 6'3", 200 pounds, and is a sumo wrestler. And the reply of the drinking man was, "What? Do I have to repeat it 3 times?" So he's calling them jokes. Is that the joke? That they're the jokes? And now he's saying, what? Do I have to explain it 3 times? Lord. Did it hit? Tar Baby is saying that my ex-boyfriend was a hermaphrodite. I don't want to say anything disrespectful about somebody who, like, I was romantically involved with, but it didn't work out. We weren't well suited to one another, and I think we just kind of got together because I don't know, because I think both of us just wanted the comfort of having like somebody. So yeah, it wasn't it was interesting. Like, I remember going to hang out with some friends, and one of them like asked about him, and then the other friend was like, "Oh yeah, they're going to be together forever." And I was just like, I had this like negative reaction. I was like, I couldn't help it. I was just like, "Oh." And then like the other girl was like, "Uh-oh." Yeah. But anyway, we wish him well. He was very weak. He just wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't what I really wanted. I don't know if I was what he really wanted, but it really shouldn't have ever happened, honestly. Like, I think about it sometimes, like when I'll have memories come back. It was a long time ago. Like, I'll have memories come back and I'll be like, God, why did I date him for so long? Like, why was I in this like relationship with this guy for so long when like he sucked so bad? But I don't want to, like, again, it's like, I wasn't great either. Like, I wasn't my best self at that time. Like, I was crazy, and I was, yeah, you know, yeah, I wasn't my best self either. So like, I can say he sucked, but like, if I'm honest, I sucked too. So, I was attractive, I was pretty, and I was young. So, but I definitely wasn't my best self, and I definitely did not. I mean, I really shouldn't have dated him. I remember too, like when we first started dating, there was this girl who like had a crush on me that I worked with, and like my workplace ended up getting shut down, or like we ended up getting new like owners, so we had like a end of party, and he came to like the event when we were at the bar. He didn't come to the fun event we had prior, because we went bowling and then we went to like a bar. But yeah, she kind of came up to me outside, and she was just like, what did she say to me? She was like, "That boy is not good enough for you." Like, brutal. She was like, "He is not good. That boy is not good enough for you." And I should have listened. I should have listened because he wasn't, even though I sucked, like he's a man, he should have been a lot better. And he was like, just so, I don't know. There were like weird things that happened that I'm not going to get into, but like I had like a memory come up and I was like, like probably, I don't know, probably should have broke up with him. There were so many times I should have broke up with him. Anyway, yeah, he was a beta male. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was. He was very like soft and sensitive. Oh God, he was so sensitive. Ugh. I feel like everyone I've dated's been sensitive, like way more sensitive than me. Like, I think I told you, or like I was talking about one of the guys I've been dating this past year, and like he was walking me home after our date because like we went on a date pretty nearby, and I was kind of like, I don't know, I was just kind of in pain, and like I went over this bump and I kind of like had a physical reaction to it. I was like, oh, ow, just like that comes up. And he was like, oh, I wish I could take your pain away. Like, I wish I could take your pain from you and bear it myself. Like, some dumb stuff like that. And I got like irritated by that comment. So I was just like, you couldn't handle it. And then I giggled, like you do. I was like, you couldn't handle it. And then he got all like sensitive about that. He was like, Terri, that was mean. And I was like, man, if you thought that was mean, man, what are you going to do with me when I'm actually being mean? Like, and also, like, do you not see how irritating that comment was? But yeah, like, oh, I wish I could, take the pain from you and bear it myself. Like, you really, really, like I wasn't even complaining, like, and I don't. And it's just like it's so irritating when people are that way with me. Like, just like yes. Anyway, I mean, but was I being mean? I don't think I was being mean. He probably wasn't that bad. Oh no, honey, he was bad. He was bad. He had problems. Oh, he was bad. His family was nice though. His mother loved me. I mean, she was a sweet lady. I don't know. How much did he weigh? How much did he weigh? He was probably like 140 to 150. He was pretty slender. He was like probably 5'9", 5'9", 5'10", pretty slender. I don't know, maybe he could have been up to 160. He was slender, but he was strong, He wasn't like weak. He had musculature and he did work out. He was very physical. He was actually a mountain climber. He was into mountain climbing, which I hated. I hated when he would go mountain climbing because I'd just be like worried about him. And he never had a cell phone. Like, so I wouldn't know, I'd have to wait all this time to like know if he was okay. Basically, it would just be like, anyway. No, I've never been married, Bosco. I'm unmarried. I've never married anyone. Um, he wasn't very smart. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. And that's difficult for me because, like, I'm not like a genius, you know. I'm not smart, but he wasn't very smart. And that was kind of like, that was a point too of like difficulty. Like, because I couldn't really connect with him intellectually. And that also led me to like, I mean, that's, part of that isn't too bad because like, because I couldn't connect with him intellectually, I got on like YouTube and started like doing my YouTube videos. Like, you know, I think I started doing YouTube like before we broke up, like the last year of our relationship. I started doing YouTube. So it wasn't that, it led me into this whole like new creative place where I got to like express my ideas and talk with people intellectually. So it wasn't terrible, but I can't, and it's not, I don't expect, like I said, genius IQ, but I do expect somebody to be like as smart as me, hopefully smarter. And it's kind of frustrating too, because I remember like being in the chat once and like, or like I have it, it's happened with other guys too. Like, I think, yeah, guys kind of, a lot of guys think they're smarter than women. Even dumb ones think that. And that's kind of frustrating. Or they think men are just generally smarter. And like statistically, yeah, but it's really difficult when you are a woman and you're smarter than the man you're with. And then you're kind of like in that position. I just felt like I was more masculine than I enjoyed being, when I was with him. So yeah, we broke up and I didn't date, or I dated a bit like a couple years later. Yeah. Sensitivity is a strength though. I mean, it can be. It can be. I don't know about that. Like I have to think about that. Like being aware of your emotions and other people's emotions is not a bad thing, but like it is a bad thing when you're like flying off the handle all the time because you can't control your emotions and you make everybody else responsible for your emotions. Or you can't deal with somebody who's just like, you know, I don't know. It doesn't, mesh well. Like, I mean, I have to be honest with that interaction with the guy who was like, I wish I could take your pain and like feel it, I wish I could take your pain from you and feel it myself. Ugh. But it's also just like, I guess I think my response was a bit passive aggressive. It was me kind of like being, I guess I was being mean a little bit, because I didn't like what he said to me. So it was just like, you couldn't handle it. And then we had this like dumb conversation about how like women bear pain better than men because of childbirth. It was just like, shout out to the dumbs. Terry cheated intellectually. I do think that is probably a thing, but like, I mean, maybe a bit. I think, you know what I did? I think I did. I think getting on YouTube and kind of like interacting with more people had me like realize that I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy with him and like I wanted to change. And he had went on this trip to go visit his like cousins and, hang out and do like, boy stuff. And he came back and he told me this story. I'm not even going to like repeat what he did because it was dumb. And he was always getting himself into these like dumb things where he was like, I don't know, like just not taking his safety seriously, and like putting himself in scenarios where he got hurt. So yeah, he told me about how he like hurt himself doing this dumb thing. And I like, I let him tell his story and, like, and then I was like, I think we should break up. And he didn't have any objections either. Like, I don't remember really how he responded, but yeah, it just kind of like, but yeah, that definitely, I think it gave me the impetus. So yeah, maybe I'm grateful for ever getting on YouTube all those years ago because it kind of was a catalyst to get out of that relationship. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I'm just emotional about being smart. I don't think I'm really emotional about being smart. I think I'm frustrated when people tell me that I'm not as smart as a man when I've met men who are stupider than me. Yeah. I find that kind of thing irritating. So I mean, yeah, I'm irritated by that. I'm like, I don't know if I'm like even irritated about it. I'm just kind of like, what? Like confused that people think that way. But anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. People think the ways they do. What's the real question? Bosco Bosconomi says the real question is and it's like the anticipation is like, what's he gonna say? Is he gonna say anything or is he just gonna let that hang? Matthew says women's go to Jupiter. No, it's boys go to Jupiter to get more stupider. And girls go to Mars to get more candy bars. Get my candy bars. My eyebrows are kind of interesting right now. I'm like looking at them. It's like, is my head on a tilt? Is my camera on a tilt? Like, whatever. Thanks, Bubblelandia. I'm glad I had it too, although it became kind of destructive as well because I got cyberbullied massively later on, which is interesting to deal with. But cyberbullied, it sounds so stupid. It was like before cyberbullying was even like a talked about phenomena, but I was like getting it hard. And this was back when you had DMs on YouTube. So people would just like, private message me all kinds of hate, and then like flood the comments and like just all kinds of random like attacks. I got phished, a phishing attack, ended up losing my original channels. The original Terri Strange channel, the Nuclear Night channel, rest in peace. It might be D's nuts. It might be D's nuts. Well, you forgot the little nut emoji. Where's the nut emoji? Yeah, YouTube used to be a lot. It's interesting because it's always been like, there's always been a social element to YouTube. It is like a social media platform, I definitely think. It's less so now. It's more like, but there is this kind of like, especially with like the live I mean, this is social. It's like weirdly social. But there's a social element to it. But yeah, the back when we had instant or not instant messages, but private messages, I remember like dreading when I would, get on YouTube and, see that I had messages. I was like, oh God. I remember like when it first started happening to the hate, somebody writing to me and giving me advice about like how to handle it, like have somebody else read the comments for you and like moderate your comment section. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, there were things about it that were a lot better. Definitely, I don't like a lot of the changes that happened on YouTube once Google took over. It's been it's better now. Like I like YouTube now. YouTube's a lot nicer to use now, but I feel kind of bad. I just realized I said I wasn't going to say anything negative about like my ex-boyfriend from like ever ago, but now I'm like kind of said some negative things. Even if I was just responding to the chat, I'm like, oh, how do I feel about that? Should I private the stream when it's over? Like maybe I should. It's not like I'm not being honest about my feelings or whatnot, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like when I like hear people bashing their exes or that kind of thing. I don't feel like I was bashing him, but still, I don't want to have like any negative content out there about like one of my exes, saying things about them. It's not in the most glowing terms. Hi, sweetheart. Who's a handsome kitty? Hello. Would you like me to stop doing this and wind down and get cozy? Is that what you want? You want me to stop doing this and get in bed? You not like when she's doing all this? Yeah, I wonder. I do wonder. Like, I've never run into him, which is interesting. Like, because Portland is a small place. Like, we do run into people. I have never run into him though, which is, even more reason why we weren't really well suited to each other because we didn't have similar interests really, you know. And I remember like one of his friends, or like actually all of his, stop it. Don't do that. Do not do that. Excuse me. Okay, get. No. Thank you. What a bad kitty. What a bad kitty. I can't believe he's so bad at me. Yeah, I remember his friends hated me. Like, they were like, why do you like her? What do you have in common with her? Oh, all the like signs, all the signs were there. All the signs were there. But, I just was like, because his friends hated me. He actually like fell out with most of his friends when he started dating me because they just hated me. But I don't know. They were like weirdly gay with each other, like men are. They get in those like weird homosocial groups, and they like maybe bond too closely. And then like a girl comes in and steals your little friend away, so they get all mad because they don't have somebody to hang out with all the time. I think that was part of it too with some of them, but like other ones, like the guy who said that was who was like, "Why do you like her?" He was more like a normal person, like a normal guy living a normal life. So yeah, exactly, Matthew. Exactly. That's it. That's it. What's up, we Rose? We crying about exes? I was talking about it a little bit. I don't even know how the subject came up, but I was talking about one that I had when I was in my early 20s. I don't remember why we got on that. Mm, the chat's dead. Dang. Really? Well, liven it up a bit. I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, Nicio was in and out. He was in and out like a number of times. I'm playing FO4. I don't know what that is. This is an interesting comment. You could have been getting a husband, Terri, but you chose a hermaphrodite. I have no words. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. Mina, I wasn't raised in a like I wasn't raised with like proper values by in a normal family, so I didn't realize that I was going about things the wrong way, you know? So like I had to like kind of figure that out just as I, kind of stumbled and had experiences that like things weren't being done the right way. Um, yeah, I don't know. I never had that kind of like, nobody ever like sat me down and talked to me about like, you know, this is the way to live your life, you know, or this is the proper way to go about things, or this is what you should be thinking about in your life. Like, I kind of just had this like I kind of raised myself because my dad was always working. So I was like raised by, and mainly the media I was into. So like I was inspired by like, you know, philosophy and like literature and, magazines and music and that kind of thing. And I was all into like the alternative DIY thing. And everyone around me was pretty similar, all the kind of friends I had similar interests and were living kind of similarly. Like, even now, some of the friends I had at that time that I'm still in connection with, they're not living very differently, which is kind of interesting to me because I did have a conversation with one a couple years ago about how, like, I want to be married and that kind of thing. And like, she had said like, really? She's like, I have no interest in marriage. And she's like maybe 2 years younger than me, you know? And like, if that's the truth for her, then like, cool. But I was kind of like, it's kind of weird, like that you wouldn't ever want to be married. But I had like, I also had a lot of like, political ideology as well that was like telling me to like fear and resent these things, and I didn't have a stable family growing up. My parents weren't together, and my dad's like girlfriends were all horrible. So yeah, I don't know. I think I never really, even though it was always something I kind of wanted, like I always wanted it, like I wanted that stability. I wanted that kind of like legacy and just like, it's more natural to me, I think. I'm very inclined that way, it wasn't, I wasn't in those circles where people were thinking that way, or minded that way. Nobody, like, none of the adults in my life ever kind of like talked to me about any of it. I wonder, like, do people talk with their kids about this stuff? And I see, like, in good families, they do. Like, they train their like daughters to know what to do, what to look for, and also like they're involved. But yeah, I was just kind of like I don't know, thrown into life, and I've had to figure things out for myself. I've had to like create my own networks. I wasn't born into like any sort of like good networks or any of that. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. That must have been hard to deal with. You're curious what my cat did. He stuck his claws into my like pants, and these are like very thin cloth pants, and he's already ripped a little hole in them, and um, I didn't want him to rip another hole in them. So like, I'll probably be getting rid of these pants pretty soon because of the hole, because they're over. Their life's over. They had a nice life. I've liked these pants. I've enjoyed them. They looked really good, but yeah, they're really, you know, they don't stand up to the cat. He destroys a lot of fabrics. Stop! You're not going outside. Hey, you are not going outside. My dad loved you. It's not about values. Of course, he loved me. He loved me very much. But my dad didn't have he didn't have no sense. He really didn't. Like, he didn't. He was it was hard, It was hard, like, growing up in that kind of environment, and he did the best he could, and he loved me very much. I'm very grateful for him and all that he did for me. But, in terms of like preparing me to have a nice, normal life, no, I was not prepared for that. I was prepared to have a very like challenging one. So he did what he could. He didn't know any better. He couldn't have given me anything else. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's a scary thought. Did I live with my mom or dad? I lived with my father. My father raised me. I didn't have any relationship with my mother. Like, I didn't even meet her until I was 34. So it was like 4 years ago that I met my mother. You were raised Mormon? Dang. That's sweet. Wow. Roses are red, violets are blue. If you ask me a question, it's D's nuts for you. Tar baby. No, no, I'm not a patch wearer. No. I have a lot of clothes, If one pair of pants gets destroyed, there's others there that'll, I have to wear. I told you you ain't going outside, so stop asking. What is wrong with you? Why are you acting this way? You want me to go to bed? I don't want to go to bed yet. I'm working on my drawing. I'm sitting and chilling and chatting. Why you being this way? Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Meow. You ain't going outside. And you ain't getting up on this lap neither. You best not even think about it. You baby. You not getting what you want. Yeah. I know you love me. I won't be up too much longer, I promise. I promise. It won't be much longer. I promise. Oh, poor baby. Matthew says, "Oh wow, Terri, I didn't know." Didn't know what? No, you're not getting up here. Stop that. No. Crack rocks, laptops, stolen phones, knock knock, pick the lock, no one's homes. Old scars, new scabs, and broken bones, drug addictions, evictions, and broken homes. Break a Dutch, roll up, smoke alone. Dang. Yeah. Did he put his girlfriends above me? Oh, what the fuck? Oh my god. Nero. You little ninja. You ninja ass cat. What's wrong with you? The answer to this is yes. He did. A number of times he did. And honestly, like there would have been no way for him not to have. He really had no business, and this is, when I get talking about like men needing to be, financially together before they start dating, like this is something, that was wrong with my dad. Like it just was a mess. He had some like really awful girlfriends, like, and they just got progressively worse. His last one that he had when I was, still living with him, she was better than a lot of them in terms of like her character as a person, but she was a single mom herself. She had 3 kids of her own, living with her. And that was fine for my dad because he loved kids and he always wanted to have a big family. But like she didn't really like him, I knew she didn't really like him. And that was tough for me, to like deal with. And he liked her a lot. It was interesting. He like really liked her, but I could just tell that she didn't like him. And it was like, she's a better person in terms of like her, her ethic, how she lives her life, her responsibility. And, there were things about her that were admirable. Like she had a young son who was diagnosed with ADHD and she refused to put him on medication. So like I really like respected that about her, that she like didn't drug her child and let him be himself. And like, but yeah, she had some health issues as well. Like she just had low energy. But yeah, I didn't really like her because she didn't like him. Hey, sweetie. Nice, sweetie. Feed him a can. He's not getting another can tonight. I don't want no fat kitty. I don't want no fat kitty in this house. He's fat as hell. Yeah, I just met her. Yeah, it really wasn't that long ago. Met all I met my brothers, met like my aunts and uncles, my cousins. That I hadn't seen them since I was a toddler. you know. I had maybe like 2 very hazy memories of my mother, and it was difficult. And the other thing is too, like my dad did keep me from my mother. There were multiple times during my childhood that she like, tried to have, me come visit. He would not let me visit her, even though like they would pay for everything, he wouldn't let me like meet her or anything. And it was a mess. He was very like controlling in that way. Spank his little ass. He likes it though. He liked when I spank his little butt. What did my dad die of? I forget the exact cause of death on his death certificate. Man, I don't know. I don't want to dig it up right now, but he, it's kind of a mix of, he had pneumonia that, he would get pneumonia pretty regularly. Like, most years he would get it. He got it pretty bad. He did not go to the hospital for a pretty long time. Like, he had it for a couple months, and when he finally did, go to the hospital, it was pretty advanced, and he basically like just his system ended up shutting down. Like his organs like went into failure. My father was like morbidly obese as well, so that didn't help. So it complicated all of his health issues. He had like a lot of severe health issues, and yeah, but it's technically it would be the pneumonia that got him, So mm, he deserves it. Somebody think you deserve more food. They think you deserve more food. They don't know what you like. They don't know what I got put up with this kitty. No sweet boy. You deserve more wet food. 3 cans of wet food. You love it if you get 3 cans a day. Dang. 3 cans of wet food. You're like, yes, please. You used to do that. And you got fat as hell, didn't you? You got so fat. You was a big chunky boy when I did that. Yeah, you was a big chunky boy. She hit her adoration well. No, she didn't care for my father. She cared for what he would do for her. Yeah. Daddy, I miss him. Even with his many problems. But like I said, when somebody's morbidly obese too, like it's just everything is difficult for them, And so his obesity struggles, he did lose weight, during my childhood. He did lose weight, but he ended up gaining it back because he never really addressed um, his his binge eating, I would say, and his like addiction to food. So um, yeah, he just, and also like I don't know. Just, there's a lot, in terms of he just was very wild himself. He was he called himself like progressive. He had very kind of like liberal politics, compared to most people in like my family, all of his brothers, he was kind of like the black sheep in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like when I think about him, like there's so many things I admire his individuality. He really was an individual, like very unique, and he a lot of people loved him. You know, he was very popular, and you know whenever he comes up, like people that know him always have nice things to say. Like, and I remember on Facebook recently, like some memory came up that I shared about my dad or something, and like all these people, like a lot of people who knew him as a child commented, people who I don't really even interact with that much, but they were like very kind. They were like, your father was always so nice to me. Like he really was. He did do a lot of fun things with like my friends. He took us to do fun things, or he would like take us out on like road trips. Um, I remember my friend Christiana, like I befriended like a German exchange student in high school, like junior high, and he made sure to like take her out to see like different parts of the state because and like she would just be taking pictures all the time from like the truck, and he'd be like, "Do you want me to stop?" And she'd say, "No, it's fine, it's fine." But yeah, or like just not just that, but even when we were like little kids, he was kind of like a resource to people. Like people could always come to him, you know, as an adult that cared about them. So it's just nice, that people have such fond memories of him and don't like, they don't have anything like to say other than like positive things. I mean, people, when somebody's dead, they usually tend to say the positive things, but I don't think about it much, until it's like in my face that like he had such a lasting impression on other people. And then he was very popular with his work too. Like everywhere, every time we would go out, everywhere, like people would recognize him and like be like, hey, hey, Bubblelandia's comment is a little bit stressful to me because very strong of you to take those experiences. Baby, let go. Okay, thank you. Very strong of you to take those experiences and become very serious about your own health. I mean, I could be more serious, but like I have health issues. Like, did you hear about my being did you hear about like the rheumatoid arthritis issue that I have? I don't know that I mean, and I could eat better. I could eat better as well, like, to be honest. I mean, I'm not like the worst eater for sure, but I know that I could improve. Um, I mean, we all have room to improve though. So, but yeah, thank you. I'm very serious about not being fat. That's for dang sure. I will not, I will not die a, 500-pound person. No way. What color is my lipstick color? It's called, oh God, I think it's All Fired Up or something like that. It's MAC. It's nice, isn't it? It's like an orangey red, but I'm kind of wearing like the lip liner I put on is kind of pink. I like it though. I like the color and I like the way it looks on camera too. It's like very interesting against my skin. Men can be morbidly obese and popular. I mean, he was, yeah, well, no, he would still be morbidly obese at that time. Yeah, because he was probably like around 300 pounds at that time. Mm, it's true. I think also just like what he did for a living, he had a very gregarious personality. He was like larger than life. It wasn't just his size. His size was just another manifestation of the bigness of him as a person. He just like He was very tall as well. He was very like tall and very big. Um, yeah, I wish he could have like taken better care of his health though. I wish he was still around. I miss him. It's hard. I have my stepfather who looks after me a bit. He's very sweet, and he calls me his daughter. It's he's very kind and generous, and that's nice. And my uncles as well. Even like his cousin, one of his cousins looks after me a bit too. My cousin Daryl, second cousin, my dad's cousin. My dad saved his life when he was a kid, so like Daryl kind of always felt like a real like strong bond with him, and I grew up knowing him. But yeah, it's just not the same. It's not your dad. Alas, daddy's gone. It was hard when he died too. It was like really shocking. What is going on out there? That was like a big delivery truck. This is interesting. I told you about the like market, like the little convenience store that has like the riffraff hanging outside aimlessly, not even doing anything productive, like selling drugs or anything, like just hanging out. I mean, they're not even selling drugs. What is that? Like, what? But yeah, there's a delivery truck like backing into there, wanting to deliver goods, and it like was honking at the people milling about. Interesting. Tar Baby Yoda says that I was fortunate to be raised by him. I mean, yeah, if I'd been raised by my mother, it would have been like a whole other type of hell. So, like, you know, you know, I wonder. I don't like V8 though. It doesn't taste good. And no, I'm not drinking lemon water. Nope. I had a big friend who died, and there's something about a big person's embrace that is unforgivable. It's true. Marilyn Monroe wore an orange lipstick color, which I found rather surprising. Did she? They are called losers. Thanks. Yeah. It's like, if they were like, if they were hustling, I can respect an honest hustler. You're hooking, you're selling your drugs. Okay, like you're a criminal, but at least you're part of the game. At least you're doing something. At least you're not being idle. But I cannot bear the riffraff that do nothing. Like, how are you going to be riffraff and do nothing? How are you just going to do nothing? You need a trip too. I do need a trip. You gonna pay for my trip? It ain't happening financially this year, unless, well, it could. I mean, I sometimes come into money randomly from different things, and I mean, it is possible it is possible, but I just, in terms of like where my budget's at, and like, I don't know, you know, my rent went up and my raise didn't really meet that. So I'm kind of like in this position where I'm like, I have enough to like enjoy myself and save a bit, but I don't really have enough to like go on a trip, which is disappointing because I would like to go on a trip. All the people you've named with love are men. Take note, you haven't named any females. Interesting. I don't know. There are females that I love. I love my friends. I have some really decent female friends, you know. But it is, yeah, I have had like, hmm, Mina is clarifying that her comment was meant to be mean, not complimentary. Thank you. I like it though. I mean, come on. You got time to lean, you got time to slang, okay? Maybe all the feminism was to obtain the missing female element. I think that's very true. I definitely think that about myself. I definitely was attracted to feminism to try and get more female energy into my life. I was craving female like companionship. I was craving like mother. Like I had a massive mother wound, you know. I was craving to be mothered, and feminism was just like this, you know, it was this outlet that I could like engage with and be around women of like all ages. A lot of older women took me under their wings, you know, and I craved that. I did. I wanted the validation of like, you know, an older female to make me feel loved. Oh, that's sweet. You think it's better to do something destructive than to just chill? I mean, it looks shady. It makes me like really uncomfortable. You know, if I knew what they were up to, I mean, maybe they are up to stuff, but it doesn't look like they're up to anything. You know, it's just like you're just chilling in front of the shop when you know, there are better places to chill. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't think it's better, obviously, but I also don't think, I don't know. I respect, there's just some part of me, I guess, that respects people that are like in the game trying to like be, I don't know, you know, say like, I guess they are being disruptive. I don't know. But I guess part of me is just more respectful towards people who are like actually working. I don't know. They are outside avoiding mama and their wives. I don't think any of them have wives, maybe like girlfriends. Women are catty, constant drama. Men don't, no, men are never dramatic. Never. They dap you up and you chill. I don't know what it means to dap you up. How about females in my family? Yeah, I did. Well, I did talk about my Aunt Kathy earlier. I mentioned her, my blonde, beautiful Aunt Kathy. So yeah, my aunts are pretty cool, and my I mentioned my Aunt Dorinda too. She's very sweet and loving, and my Aunt Jeanette as well. My Aunt Jeanette actually took care of me for a long time, and she kind of was, I don't know, like I don't want to say surrogate mother. She was like when I went back to New York with my mom and I was living with her, like she really wasn't capable of taking care of me. So her brother and his wife ended up taking me in, and his wife, my Aunt Jeanette, like took care of me for almost a full year. Like I was one of her babies, and I was a little baby at that time. She had two older kids, and she showed me so much love and so much care, and she still has, like she's still part of my life. She's still like she's done, you know, things for me if I've needed, like given me things I might need. from time to time. And just, she's a very important person to me as well, very influential. And then on my dad's side, like, um, my grandma died when I was 23. So that was hard, but she was a big pillar in my life as well. She was a rock to me. Like, she looked after me quite a bit. Um, and after she and my grandfather like moved to Arizona, like I would come stay with them quite a bit, and she always was like, she's just a really cool, genuine, like honest, fun. I don't even know like how to describe my grandma. Like she had such a good laugh too. She had like a really infectious laugh, and she was a big smoker. Um, and I remember when I first met her little sister, my Aunt Meg. She was so tiny, but she was like a tiny version of my grandma. And I remember seeing her, and I was just like so fascinated by her. Because she wasn't my grandma, obviously, but they looked so similar. She died pretty young, though, too. Um, but I remember her being like just so, I get very honest as well. She was very honest, like my grandma was. So I don't know. I've got some nice female family. My cousin Bonnie as well. I mentioned my cousin Bonnie who sent me my Emily Strange tote bag. She's like a big sister to me. She really looks after me. She always sends me like incredible like care packages for like my birthday and Christmas, and she's just very generous, and she's so beautiful too. Like my cousin Bonnie is like, she's a few years older than me. She's my um Aunt Jeanette and Uncle Mike's daughter. She's like, yeah, she's like my big sister almost. And I remember like they kept up with me through my childhood too. My dad like let me have contact with them. Like I said, he was controlling, and he did kind of keep me from my mother to a certain degree, but he let like my Uncle Mike and Aunt Jeanette have a little bit of access, but even then, like I didn't get to see them, until I was an adult. So anyway, true. Pretentious love from blown out lesbians. Oh my God. What would he disavow? I'm confused. What would he disavow? Did they get caught? They zombied out on Fent? No, sometimes that happens. They're not really zombied on Fent. Well, I don't know. These ones look like they might be up to stuff a little bit. It is getting dark. It's gotten dark, so now the dap you up handshake. Okay. Thank you. ENFP, and always with the Myers Briggs. ENFPs, yeah. Hake would definitely disavow, even when disavowing something you think shouldn't be disavowed. That's interesting. One of the biggest gossips at my church is a man. I have to tell him repeatedly to stop gossiping to me, not in that language. It's like, God, I don't want to hear this. Like, stop telling me stuff I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about people's business or the drama you're getting yourself into. So I don't know. I should visit New York, see some family. It would be nice. I mean, maybe I could probably get but I don't know if I really am up for all of that. I mean, how great women are to be around. I mean, in terms of like feminism, nope. That was just hell. Like I remember all the like women only things I got into and like events I went to and things. And like there would be some cool things about it, like sometimes, or there would be some interesting women there, definitely like highly intelligent, like unique individuals. I appreciated that. But a lot of them were just, full of hate, full of hate. How to have two churches. I don't have two churches. I don't think I could manage going to two churches. I mean, maybe there's a lot of churches around and they have different like starting times. So maybe, but I feel like mine. Well, I mean, we weren't usually drinking. I mean, I have like gone to conferences that were women only, and then like after the conference gets out, we've gone out drinking, but like, yeah, generally, yeah, there wasn't any drinking going on. Maybe that would have made it better. Probably not. Probably not. And then there's all that controversy about that as well. I remember just like there's so many like intense politics that people have and like, you know, I mean, I probably agree that you shouldn't serve alcohol at a political gathering, um, for various reasons, or, it's just not the place. But some women are really, into that. So I don't know. They exist, life by a thread. They exist. They are out there. And I'm sure they're having a great time. It's interesting because yeah, there were all these like different, intersectionalities that you could divide yourself on, and yeah, all these different ways that you could, separate yourself and like just further victimize yourself, make yourself the most oppressed of the oppressed that ever was oppressed. It's very healthy. It's very healthy behavior. Um, there's something interesting about being in like a woman only space. It does feel different. It's definitely enjoyable. And I enjoyed, kind of the aspect of it that was fighting it back against the trans cult. I mean, fighting now to me is exhausting, but I appreciated that like we were intentionally trying to, make a stand for what a woman is and not like allowing men who pretend to be women into the spaces. I thought that was helpful in some way. I don't know if it was helpful, but it definitely like, because I've been to like, other events that were like more open like that, where, it's a women and femmes event. So pretty much, it's definitely a different vibe when it's all women versus when it's women and then like a couple of female impersonators around. Definitely a different vibe. Totally different vibe. They want to pretend that it isn't so that you'll just allow them in, but like it isn't the same vibe. I posted about that before he was ever on Twitter, you know? I was on there saying that like well before you could do it before. I mean, sometimes you would get reported, or it wasn't always fair. I remember when like Megan Murphy lost her Twitter account just for like agreeing that that guy Jessica, what's his name, Jessica Yaniv or whatever. I don't remember his like original name, his dead name. I don't remember his dead name, but like the guy in Canada who was like suing the, women's spas who wouldn't, give him a Brazilian wax, that guy. I remember when like she was reporting about him and somebody asked like, yo, is this the same guy as this? And she was like, yeah, that's him. That's all she said. Yes, that is him. And she lost her Twitter account for that. But like I was on there wilding out, saying all kinds of stuff. And I had I didn't have a massive following, but I had like, I don't know. How many Twitter followers did I have? Probably like 3,000 maybe. I could be wrong. But like not unheard of. And I was on there, being transphobic. But they never deleted me. I did get some tweets deleted or taken down, and I did have like a coworker stalking my Twitter and like reporting me to HR for, being transphobic, but is feminism a form of self-segregation? I mean, I don't know. It's so broad and kind of like meaningless as a term. Like feminism is so like, it's hard to define, the ism suggests, that it's like a study of something. It's a study of or a practice of or an orientation of something, right? Of women, feminism, but like it's so broad, and people with like completely different opinions about things are feminists. The only thing that really unifies them, I think, is the like, and I don't know if it's right to say this about everybody who identifies as a feminist, because some people really don't think about it that hard. They just hear like equality and they're like, yeah, okay, fair. But I think the people who like really get into it, a lot of it is just like kind of victim mindset. But like definitely when I was a feminist, being involved in like the radical feminism side of things, being on that kind of wavelength, I had very vastly different opinions from like what we would call like a liberal feminist. So in that, it was hard to have any kind of solidarity with, women who, I thought were oppressing women and they thought we were oppressing women. And it's just like, ugh, what a mess. I already saw this. Decentering men is the current term in focus. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's just feminine. I mean, decentering men. I don't think that that's necessarily a negative thing. I think sometimes women do need to do that because some women are like really overly focused on men to the detriment of their own lives. They'll put like male validation before what they need to be focusing on. So like, I mean, I have this with like women I know, even like they've been running, they're like they're like, I don't know, they're doing the same thing over and over again with men, expecting a different result and like constantly chasing, male approval and validation and affection because of their daddy wounds. And like they never stop to think like, okay, maybe I need to take a break from this and like work on myself so that I can actually, if I want to, be a decent person in a relationship and not date like any guy who's just giving me attention. So I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for some women to do. Tar Baby says that feminism is Satanism. This is an interesting comment from Mina. You weren't taught who started feminism and why in college. Wonder why. I don't know why you assume that I was in college. I didn't go to college and I wasn't introduced to feminism in college. Feminism, my understanding of feminism is all self-taught. I got into, learning about it myself. I'm really into reading books. So and I was really interested in like the waves of feminism. So I went and like read different, feminist authors over time. If you go back on this channel, like you can find reviews of like different classic feminist works. But that was like, I've been into this stuff for like a long time. Even then, like I didn't learn about feminism from like some college class, and you really don't learn anything about feminism from college classes. Like what they are teaching is like very, it doesn't really have anything to do with any historical feminism, or any sort of understanding of like feminist theories about anything. So, I remember back when I was blogging, I did a response to an article in like, it was one of the Vancouver like liberal publications, very popular in the Vancouver, Canada area. I don't remember the name of it. I wish I still had my blog up, or at least private, so that I could like look this stuff up, because I remember they were criticizing young women who were learning and reading like second wave feminist texts for themselves and saying that they couldn't understand these texts without like the proper guidance of a like a professor, which was like really stupid, because like the 60s weren't that long ago, for one. The 60s and 70s really weren't that long ago when these works were coming out. So yeah, I don't know. So I was just like, I was so offended and shocked that they would imply that you would need to have somebody to help interpret modern literature for you. And there's like there's some feminist authors that I still really respect a lot. I really love Germaine Greer. Like, she'd probably be my favorite, honestly, of the living like feminists. She's just such an individual, and she wasn't afraid to like be herself, and like she didn't hate men ever. Yeah, she's amazing, honestly. I don't know. It's not really true in Portland, though. Like, honestly, the men are more feminist than the women are. If you're taught people are against you, you become, yeah, it's true. Yep, that's so true. It's so true. People become, and like the more, you have this kind of like intersectional identity, like the more oppressed you feel, the more isolated you become, the less you like put yourself out there. It's kind of like a self fulfilling prophecy, it really is. People get sucked into this belief system, and then they believe that like the world is against them and they just kind of become shut-ins and hateful because of it. Men are drawn to hoes. Not untrue. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so it's hard to say because it was like implanted in me very young. It's like hard to say when it started. You know, it was pretty young. I think I kind of became fascinated by it, like through, again, probably media I consumed, like movies I'd watched, or like, and I think I was just always interested in knowing the other side of things, and I grew up learning that the communists were our enemies, and I just became interested in that. I always wanted to know, like, well, what do our enemies think? And I never trusted what I was being taught either. What I mean? I was always kind of like, I knew that what I was being taught was wrong, and I'd rather just understand something for myself than actually like accept at face value what I'm being told. That's just who I am. Like, and yeah, I think that's kind of how it started. But again, probably another topic for another time. Oh my goodness. Okay, I just want to be clear that women were always in the workforce. Women were always in the workforce. Women have never not been in the workforce. This idea that women weren't in the workforce is a myth. The thing that changed was that jobs were no longer advertised by sex, but women were always working. Thank you, Stacy. This is an interesting comment. I know. Oh well, it's interesting because most men that I talk to don't, they're not down for that kind of lifestyle. They don't want to have to provide for a woman. They think that a woman should be working, so alongside them, paying half their bills, doing it all. They believe in equality. So I don't know. But also, like, I mean, again, women were always working. You know, they're, I mean, during the 50s, there was like a great deal of prosperity in the country, and a lot more middle class women didn't work. But even then, some of them did. They may not have like worked a traditional job, but they may have like taken in sewing or did baking or used other skills they had to make their own income. So I don't know. And then there's all the women who were working class who never stopped working, the waitresses, the maids, shop girls, women who, yeah, worked in retail, women who worked in factories, women who worked like in manufacturing, women who worked in like textile industries, like women were working as cooks, like, and not all of those women were unmarried. A lot of them were working and had kids. So that it's a big myth that women weren't working. Shira7 is pro idle. Can you explain what you mean? Because she doesn't seem very idle to me. She works every day. She's got several businesses that she runs. you know? She doesn't seem very idle to me. Maybe just how I'm looking at, like again, like look at all these trad wife influencers now. They're working. That's their hustle. Like women have always had little hustles they did on the side as well, even wives. Even if they were like, kept women, a lot of them did, take in their own money to a certain degree, just so that they would have money that, of their own to play with or to do whatever they needed with. No, you're just repeating stuff. Like women worked. Women were taxpayers. Dang, women were paying taxes. What you talking about? I have noticed, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's very interesting how like much people don't like women and how like uncomfortable they are, or shouldn't say uncomfortable, how comfortable they are with expressing like just very hateful, judgmental, mean things. But I don't think that's ever changed. I think that's always been something, and this is also kind of like what draws women into the feminism thing as well. Because like, it's difficult to be a human being and to like hear people constantly denigrating, some attribute or some characteristic of yourself that you have no control over. Like, let's say being born female, being a woman, and people have all kinds of like nasty, harsh, judgmental things to say. I understand why women get ticked, they get ticked. Shira works occasionally and when she feels like it. Shira is on her YouTube channel every day for hours. Then she's got her like shops that she runs. I mean, I'm not saying that it isn't better than working a regular job. It definitely is. I think she's I admire her. Like, I want her life way, way over being a working woman, like for real. But like this idea that she doesn't work or that she's idle, she's not, and I don't really like these like women who think they're going to like, date a provider and have him like, take care of you and spoil you and you'll never like work. Like, are you just being lazy at the end of the day? Like, is that really all you have to offer the world? Like, I don't know. Like, women didn't work as commonly as men. What women, though? Like, what women are you talking about? Because some women did. Some women did. Some women worked like long hours. And women were in the workforce doing all these jobs. I named tons of jobs that women were doing. I didn't even bring up like the secretaries and the typists and like administrators and like that kind of thing. Like women were employed in those fields as well, like operators. Like, I just don't think like, I just I hear this thing about like women entered the workforce and that's like when everything went down. I'm like, when were they not working? What women are we talking about here? Like, which women? Educated women? Is that it? Like women who were professional careerists? Because that's what it sounds like. Women who are going to be taking like a good paying job from a man? Is that what it is? Like, because I think that's more what we're talking about. Like, and I think we're looking at things from a very specific kind of class of people that like most women and men don't even fall under. Like, especially for the working classes. Like for the working classes, it was always the case that the women were working. Unless they like were in a very specific situation, but like I said, even then, like if they weren't working a job, they probably were doing some sort of other skill that they had that they did in their community to earn money. So like I just don't think it's this kind of language. It's like it makes people think that women haven't been working, like, and I don't like that because it's not true, you know. I mean, I agree with this comment. I don't think, I think if you're a mother, then raising your kids is your number one priority. And if you're not able to do that rightly, then that's a terrible situation to be in. So I agree with that. Mina, nobody, see, and this is again, nobody's disagreeing with that here. Or, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Nobody is disagreeing with that. Not at all. I'm disagreeing with the idea that women weren't working prior to like I'm disagreeing with the concept that there was a time that when women weren't in the workforce. That's what I'm disagreeing with. But anyway, y'all, I was planning to get off at 10 o'clock. It is now 10:30. I need to go to bed. My cat was right. I was wrong. And this conversation about, yeah, it's just not a great place to end the conversation, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So, anyway, I'll be back another time, maybe this weekend. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, I'll be probably here this, I think I already said, no, I won't. I probably won't be here this weekend. I have a friend coming in from out of town. This might be the last stream for a little while, probably till next week. So, okay. Take care. Bye bye.